Welcome to the frequency. I
Thank you,
appreciate
man.
you. Appreciate you joining me, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no, man, you got serious skill set. I want you to tell me about a CMO in a startup. Tell me
Mm,
about. We know. Look at you
mm,
like,
mm,
yeah.
mm. Uh.
So tell me about the positives and some of the challenges that you went through.
Well, I think number one, you are calling your own shots
Yeah,
as a CMO of a startup. You are truly making the decisions as to where that business is going,
yeah,
especially if you have a CEO that has empowered you properly.
yeah.
And I was fortunate enough that at both experiences, I had a CEO that started out empowering me properly. Now, they didn't end that way, but
Yeah,
it started out that way.
yeah.
And I think that that is one of the things that was the best part of it was that, you were driving creative, you were driving conversation, you were driving the storytelling, you were driving the results. And it's something that you can really own. Now, the backside of that is those decisions are decisions you have to own.
Absolutely.
So you have to own those 100%.
Yep.
And when you stand on that box and you're standing there in front of, multiple people that are all, looking at this and saying, I want to take a helicopter to work in 2 years because of
Yeah,
your amazing guidance, Sam, you have to stand on that box and you got to own that box.
yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that I did really well. Was standing on the principles of what it was that I was building, and really having people that are around you buy in. Because when it starts to not be the buy-in, is
Yeah.
when it can really be challenging. The other thing is, in that role, you're answering to a million different people. You're not only answering to the results that you're trying to get and the actual, like, conversion. You're answering to people that have given that business money. You're answering to people that are interested in the business and may give it more money. you are
Hmm.
you are really, really ringing that bell for a lot of different folks.
Man, the pressure on that, and I'm familiar with it as well, is when you have an investor go outside the chain and
Mhm.
want to talk to you direct. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
man. Oh dude, so much of that to put down this with the sun came out in Los Angeles today.
Yeah, man, we've been having
Back
rain,
home.
but it's all good.
There it
LA,
is.
we're
There it
back
is.
back to our habits with the sunshine. Any more other quick thoughts on that in regards to CMO, but you're really wearing other hats too. You're raising funds.
Hmm.
You could have a startup that has the greatest idea in the world and it's
Hmm.
the wrong timing
Hmm.
culturally.
You and I know that.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, I think there's a couple things to it that are just like so important, and one of which is the team you build around you.
Yes.
And really understanding that, like, hey, those folks, you got to really, really make sure that you're trusting. And in
Yeah.
turn, you have to make sure that when that door closes and they're having those conversations with those investors, because those investors are not just only talking to you, they're talking to everybody else. And so
Yep.
you got to make sure you're uniform and you're unified in what you're saying, because if not, you start getting those creeps of doubt in there. And really, those are a big part of a downfall of a CMO role in a startup. I think the other thing that's a downfall of a CMO role in a startup is an actual CMO role. I think that sometimes these startups don't need a CMO role
Hmm.
at, like, the some of the early stages.
Yeah.
They just need a fractional CMO that
Yeah.
may be coming from an agency and or a consultant role that may be coming from someone that's within, your trust tree, that can help to guide you, and you're not sinking, that massive salary and, those options.
You
And
know
so I
what, man? That's a great point you're making because, like, realistically, for me right now, there's a couple of companies that I'm consulting for as a fractional CMO as well. And yes, they don't need a full-time CMO and they need some guidance and they need some some pointers here and there, and highly
Yep.
concentrated, ideas and things that they can execute on, and then get to that level, without breaking the bank,
Yeah.
for them.
100%. And I mean, and that's, that's part of what we do too,
Yeah,
is we build those relationships with folks that are looking to take that next level and that next step in marketing, but they don't necessarily have, and or should they have the, massive, salary slot that you need to fund.
yeah.
And I think the other piece of it is that you see a lot of folks that come and go from that role. That CMO role is not a role that
It's
you
not
are
easy.
sitting in and you are like comfortable within,
Yeah.
because it's a family killer, and
Yes.
it's just an absolute like
Yeah.
monster of a job.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of folks that are stepping into that are a bit young in the tooth on the marketing side of things, and they go and they want to make a bunch of, brash, bold decisions. And that's not a way for a startup to go. A startup
Yeah.
shouldn't be thinking brash and bold. A startup should be thinking sustainable and convertible.